Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, Merrily on Time. My name is Chris and I unbox and review budget watches. And over the holiday season I have done special holiday unboxings, and we have looked at these 5 watches from Forge & Foster, San Martin. We looked at the Fair and Swit. I'm wearing it today. I'll show it to you in just a moment. It is also included in the 750 subscriber giveaway that I will be doing once I reach that benchmark on the channel. And at the filming of this, I am only 48 subscribers away. So if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. And thank you for supporting the channel. We also looked at the Pagani Design homage to a Rolex GMT Master 2 in the Pepsi Virgin colorway. And the last video that we did was of that Casio. And it's a chronograph, and it's a pretty cool little watch. And I am giving that one away to a friend of mine. And so going to be doing a quick review of that Casio watch, a full review, which will drop on my channel next Monday. Today we're looking at another watch that is of a brand that I got to admit, I am a fanboy of this brand. There's no question about it. And this particular watch I am doing an unbox and quick review of today because when I got this watch in, my son, who doesn't really wear a whole lot of watches, if any at all, hardly, really liked this one, and so I gave it to him. And so it's sized for him. He's been wearing it for a few days, and it is a brand that, of course, everyone knows. It rhymes with your granny at 9. You got it? Yep, it's definitely another. So what we have is another Pagani Design, and this one is PD 1712. Interesting thing about this is I do a very quick review, basically my impressions of the watch, is that I wore this watch very briefly and then I gave it to my son. So I was actually able to kind of observe what this watch looked like via watching my son wear it, and I have to say, on the wrist, this watch looks absolutely amazing. It really does. Now, this watch is an homage watch as well. Did I really need to say that? But this is the watch that it's paying homage to, the Omega Seamaster Aqua Terra chronograph. And so that's the real deal right there. And let's just kind of crack open this box and see what we get. Typical Pagani Design packaging, and you get the nice polishing cloth with it. I actually don't leave home without a polishing cloth in my pocket. It's like an everyday carry for me now, and I've got so many of them that I'll never run out. But here is the watch, and I think you can definitely see where it draws its inspiration from. So let's just take a look at that Omega Aqua Terra again, and then we'll just jump back to this Pagani Design, and you can definitely see it is a good homage to that original. Now let me just polish this off, and we'll go through some specifications with Super Cali in just a second, but it's all 316L stainless steel. The watch bracelet, the watch head, the pushers, bezel, everything is 316L stainless steel. One of the things that I find very interesting about these newer Pagani designs is the caseback design, and so you have a seahorse etched onto the back of this one, and it's can you see it there? It's kind of neat. But there was a star, I think it was, etched onto the back of my rose gold Daytona homage that I got. I don't know what they are doing. I think they just kind of need to find themselves and just figure out exactly what they want to do. But at any rate, there you go. My overall impressions of the watch are, it's very, very nice. And it looks absolutely amazing on the wrist. As I said, I've been kind of watching my son wear it around. Let's just zoom in on the dial because it really is the star of the show. And you can see that Pagani Design did something very, very smart here. They made the lines on their dial horizontal instead of vertical, just to give it their own look and flair. At any rate, you can see they've pretty much done a good job homaging the real watch. And I just love the dial on this, and it really is beautiful. You have nicely applied indices, kind of like shark tooth indices, and square rectangular indices at the 12 and the 6, but everything else is tapered, and then the 3 and the 9 are, you know, kind of somewhat tapered. They're cut off to make room for those subdials. The case finishing is really done pretty well on this. You can see you got some nice horizontal brushing on the side profile, and then when you come up to that rounded curved lug end, there is a bit of nice polish just on the edge there, and then it continues with some circular brushing, and then you have vertical brushing on the side links of this bracelet and polished center links. And so the standard of finishing on this is pretty decent. You do have the Pagani Design branding on the crown that you will usually find. The bezel itself is also nicely polished. Really, really nice sapphire crystal covering that dial. So the look of this thing is very, very nice. I mean, it just looks great on the wrist, guys. I mean, it really does. It does have the Seiko VK63 movement in it. Has a screw down crown, 100 meters of water resistance. The crown action on this one is good. It screws out and pops out really nice, and it screws in really nicely as well. No grittiness that is sometimes typical of these Pagani designs. And of course, when you unthread the crown, nice pop there. You pop it out to the first position. There's a nice distinct click there, and you can adjust the date by turning the crown clockwise. So there it goes there, and I'll wind it over to today's date, which I think is the 28th. All right. And of course, you've got 3 subdials on this dial, 24-hour complication, which I really don't like. I wish they would just get rid of the 24-hour complication on chronographs. I would rather have a 1/100th of a second complication to go with the chronograph itself. That's just me. I'm not a fan of those 24-hour subdials. You have the running seconds hand at the 6 o'clock, and then a 60-minute chronograph at the 9 o'clock. And the one thing I will say about this chronograph, I don't like the fact that they only have very minimal markings on the chronograph for legibility. It's terrible. You got one at the 5, one at the 15, you got the number 20, one at the 25, one at the 35. Like, it's just, for legibility, it isn't great, but it is a VK63 movement in here, and so you push this top pusher in. Nice click there, and that will start your seconds hand. And it's sweeping at 4 ticks per second. And of course, when you stop the chronograph and reset it, you have a nice snap back. And so they definitely chose the right movement in it to accommodate this watch. The thing that really disappointed me about this watch was this bracelet. It's, Pagani Design has some decent bracelets. This is kind of, it's not really one of them. It does have a nice butterfly and then kind of hidden clasp system on this. The one thing I will say as well that I wasn't too happy with, you can see this on here, that little scratch right there. That one my son did. This one, the watch came with that one. And wasn't too happy about that. And one of these clicks really, really nicely into place. The other one is so light, I almost wonder, yeah, and I just pulled it off there. So I'm kind of wondering over time if that one is just going to end up not really locking in place properly. The push pins that are used in this are really, you know, it's just they cheaped out on the bracelet. It feels super light. It doesn't feel like a, you know, a standard 316L stainless steel bracelet. There's not much heft to it. It's just kind of light. It's kind of jangly. Cheaper push pins. The clasp system, although I do like the butterfly style clasp, that one there, you can just hear the difference when I click this one in. And then when I click this one in. Just noticeably looser on this end. It just doesn't engage the locking system like it should. And so that was kind of a bummer. And also, you'll notice as ooh, look at that, a little bit of a dirt or something that my son did to the side of that as well. There's no half links on this to get a decent size on the watch. And so when I sized it for myself, I removed, I think, 4 links or 3 links. 4 would have made it quite snug on my wrist. 3 a little bit looser than I like, so you don't get you know, an exact fit that you would want. The other disappointing thing on this watch is the Lume. Pagani Design, for their newer brands, really does need to spend some more time on the Lume. The dials are nice. The fit and finish is pretty decent. The bracelet on this one, it's okay, but not the greatest. But the Lume, as usual with these Paganis, is just pointless. Let me show you the Lume shot. So we'll charge this thing up, and one of the things that you'll notice about this Lume that I think is absolutely ridiculous is only the arrow on the minute hand there just past the first marker at the 5 o'clock. Only it is lumed. And so it's just a bit of a hot mess, this Lume. You've got all of the sub-dials lumed, and then you have the hour hand, and again, that minute hand, just the tip of the triangle is lumed, and within 5 minutes on camera, this thing just completely disappears. And so it looks almost like it had a good start, but I mean, it's just unfortunate that Pagani Design isn't doing a better job on the Lume. I've seen one watch that they made a major improvement on the Lume. It did actually look nice. It was a watch I ended up giving away to my brother-in-law. But you can see this is fading away already, and the execution just isn't very good at all. So we'll measure this out for you and then show it to you on wrist. But again, I think the only thing that I'm really disappointed about on this watch, the Lume for sure, and this bracelet, and even these end links, you can see just a little bit stiff against the lugs there, or the end piece for the bracelet, and the same on this one. This one's a little less sticky than the other one, but there is a little bit of stiffness in those end links. So the bracelet I would replace if I were keeping this watch, because it just isn't really that great. The Lume, well, let's just face it, the Lume sucks. But let's measure this out, and then we'll put it on wrist. So we've got a 41 millimeter case, and that is between the top pusher and the crown. Factoring in that crown from the 9 o'clock to the end of the crown, you're going to have a 44 millimeter wide at the 9 to the crown. You do have a thickness of 12 millimeters. I believe this is 20 millimeters at the lug for the bracelet, and yep, so that'll be a 20 millimeter lug. The bracelet does taper down slightly to 18, and then your lug to lug length on this one Come on, get on there. 47.5, we'll call it. So it's a nicely spec'd out watch as far as the dimensions are concerned, being a 41 by 20. It wears really nice on the wrist. My son has a substantially smaller wrist than I do, so when I show it to you on my wrist, I'm only going to have one of the bracelet ends locked into place. But as I said, I've been watching my son wear this, and it looks amazing. It really does. The bracelet even looks good, although it isn't, the greatest quality bracelet. The bracelet does look good as well on the wrist. Again, I'd switch out that bracelet, but let me show it to you on my wrist, and then we will close out the video. And of course, before I show you the Pagani, I've got to show you what I'm rocking on my wrist today, and it is the Fair and Swit Wayfinder on the gray military NATO, and it is just absolutely beautiful. I am going to be giving one of these away once I reach 750 subscribers. I'll do a full review of this watch when I release the details for that particular video, and so that will be coming up probably within a couple of weeks leading up to the 750 subscriber giveaway. Once again, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and thank you for supporting the channel. And here is the Pagani PD1712 on my wrist, and you can see that it really does glitter off of the light really nicely as well. And that's one thing I noticed when my son was wearing it. The light just bounces off of this thing. It just looks really, really sharp, and that blue dial is striking. It is a very nice looking piece. Again, just a little bit disappointed with the bracelet on this one and the lume on this one, but otherwise for under $100 you can pick this one up, I believe, on Aliexpress right now. I'll leave a link in the description of the video. You can pick this up for under $90 US, just over $100 Canadian, but on the right sale you can pick this one up for under $100 Canadian, which I would say is great value for dollars spent. Despite the disappointment in the bracelet, I would still recommend this watch. Guys, I personally think that Pagani Design definitely offers value for dollar spent, some of the best watches that you can get. Value for dollar spent. Obviously, when you pay under $100 for a watch, there are going to be some things that aren't perfect with it. And with Pagani, it's usually the lume, and every now and then the crown action, the bracelet. This one I was disappointed with the bracelet on it, but it does wear comfortably. It looks beautiful. And for under $100, really, it's still a great watch. And so thank you so much for checking this video out. Next Monday, as I said, I'm going to do a full review of the Casio that you see there, model MCW 100H. And then I'll be giving that away to my friend Jonah. Hopefully maybe feature Jonah on the video. Getting the watch and getting his impressions of it actually too would be kind of great. I'm hoping to do that. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Again, subscribe if you like what you see, and thank you for that. And more importantly, I love to hear what you have to say in the comments below. I love hearing other people's feedback, impressions on the watches that you see here. And so please leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this Pagani Design PD1712. As always, remember, when you leave your house, make sure that you have a great looking piece to wear on your wrist, like this Pagani Design Seamaster Aqua Terra Homage. And make sure that wherever you're going, you get there on time. New Year's is approaching, and I wish you all a very happy, very prosperous 2022. God bless you all. We'll see you next year.